So
there's a
I can take
microscope.
this
Do we have
back.
microscope too? That
We have a microscope. We have, let's see, what we've
Surface
gotten in the
blocks.
telescope, a microscope, a Cricut machine, a Cricut joy
Oh,
machine,
yeah.
a beading loom, calculator. I think we have 2 Chromebooks.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, all of this digital camera and the video and all of that.
The GoPro,
So-
yeah, I forgot about the digital camera.
So,
We can agree to change it to procedure, and then if you want to ask specific questions, we could vote on it next time.
I can, and I'll look into it.
so
But I'm thinking
Mike
this
and
might
Paul
be
did
better
this.
as procedures than,
was developed, Mike and Paul did this.
yeah, yes, they developed.
This is not one of the things that we worked on with all our long-term stuff. No, we didn't. We did not put that together, any of this. So they did that on their own. So,
It came about with, I think, discussion with the astronomy club,
probably.
because we wanted a circulating telescope. And then I think Michael got the idea, well, if we do that, why don't we do, because some libraries circulate baking kits, so people can take those home and like those odd sizes of cake dishes, or cake shapes. And so we're talking about that. Just don't circulate.
So- We can have this document, but then now that you're saying that, does each item have a procedure pamphlet when they check them out?
Well, I think it should. I mean, I think they need to have a shortened document. Okay, so we have a meeting room policy. I shortened that just so that because people weren't reading it. And we'd go in and we'd find,
Food and water
and
and
someone had tried to post something on the wall and
punctured holes.
punctured hole, well, it's plaster, so it chips. And we heard from facilities. So, and then
Yeah,
we did have some groups that evidently lit a candle in there. And after hesitation, a moment's hesitation and saying, please put that out. You know, so people do things, and so you can't cover everything, but the other thing is we don't do financial transactions on library grounds, like you
Right.
can't have a business come in. But no financial transactions, no commercial business is allowed. And that's in a policy for the meeting room policy. But what we hand to the patron is meeting room guidelines. And it's we just took the one sentence that clearly states no candles or flame allowed.
Yeah.
And that was done before I came, but, so we have that. So do procedures need board approval would be my next question, or do we just, whatever's necessary to circulate a certain material?
So, I'm depending upon the model and what needs to be done to it to check it out. Wouldn't there be something specific for that? Because we have the class that they have to take, so that's very specified, and that would be just procedures.
And Michael's putting together a video.
I'm doing the video.
Oh, you are?
I sent you a copy of the beginning of the book.
Mm-hmm.
So there's gonna be a PDF book that they can either download or we can print out and give to them. And then there's gonna be video components. Mike's writing the script and he's a subject matter expert.
So is it gonna talk about, because what we're doing on video is how to assemble it. I mean, it's a very basic thing.
so that has these procedures.
I really
To be
wish
used with
Michael
them.
had stayed to come in.
And give us his input on how what their thoughts were, right? So that's what I'm thinking about. Well, even the microscope would need some kind of information. The Cricut, I don't know what the robotics would intake or what they would take home, but I see that each one of these things has to have a procedure or a how-to something document,
Right.
even if it's short, but how to in the container or in whatever it's gonna go to. Um,
Those
Well,
would be procedures. We
right,
need to
those were all,
approve those.
right, we don't have to approve them because it's the directions on how to use it correctly.
Yeah.
And that,
And that was my comment. And I said, well, but they're gonna need directions. Now, like the Cricut machine comes with directions how to use it. I have 3 of them.
But you would want something that the person checks out, sign and says, I'm going to read these and I'm going to do this. And not ignore the directions and then break it.
And then what are we gonna, then we've gotta come up with a procedure for storing that, and having it on file somewhere.
oh, the signature,
Their
their signature,
sign.
their checkout signature.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like, when we had working laptops that were checking out for use in the library, they had to leave their driver's license with us at the desk, and we put it in a card. But that became problematic
Mhm.
because all you need to do is hand someone the wrong license. And then you've got a kind of a mess on your hands. So that's why we quit doing that. I don't know if there's any real satisfactory way of.
and really.
The telescope we ordered was the Celestron. So it's not like the most expensive. Or cheapest either.
But it's like, it's a matter of they're using a very serious piece of equipment and a matter
Right.
of respecting that piece of equipment. You know, and it's not
My
a
thing is,
play toy.
do
So
we
we're
really
stuck.
want to allow children to, a parent to even allow their child? It's not a child's toy either,
The telescope,
telescope.
any age.
So you're gonna guarantee those parents monitor
Well,
the.
that's something,
we have
that's
the
a
same
part
way
of the
with-
procedure that
It's
you have
with
to think
everything.
about.
How's that different
Computers.
than a book?
Yeah.
You know, kids crayon up books when they check them out. Well, I
And we
mean,
lose a lot to
No.
crayons, artwork.
right,
Um,
So,
but I see your point. I certainly, it's the same questions I brought up, and I don't have the answers for you tonight. I'd really like Michael to come and speak with y'all so that he can go over this in depth, because I tried to quiz him and I said, well, they're gonna ask me questions about this.
okay, so we have no action on this at this point?
right, that's what I'm thinking,
Okay,
it's
then.
like, we have no action.
That's-
And we need to look, so, as far as the content, does anybody have any questions or concerns aside from yours, babe?
I would like to make a recommendation of changing, making the standard, the language that is, it's oscillating between the thing capitalized and item. And
On that one point, or is there,
kind of throughout the text, like especially on the second page.
yeah, I
There's
see
some
where
places
the
it's
thing
referred
is
to as
capitalized.
item, and some places the thing. I wonder where
Yeah.
the language, the thing came from. I find it a
It's,
little humorous.
Library
Things of
use
the
of
internet.
things.
Internet of Things, that was,
What
right,
now?
Michael and
Paul?
Paul. When I talked to Paul about the library telescope out of Clear Blue Sky, he was all in favor of it because they were already planning to do a library of things,
Things. Okay,
LOT.
Well, and
it's
that-
one
and
of
that-
those modern
that-
terms.
Library's use of things is up here at the top of the page. Reserves the right to take a thing out of circulation. So instead of documenting all the items, thing is in general, put them all together. Mhm.
okay. If the consensus is this is a term that's not going to confuse people, then I'm gonna go along with that. That's good, then.
Well, maybe they
I'll
could,
speed to the group.
Maybe they could annotate at the bottom, Internet of Things, to make it more clear.
Yeah, cause it's a lot of things.
I see where you're saying items now.
Yeah, see up here where it says at the second point up at the top.
Well, I had to get used to the term things.
Yeah, that's.
Well, that's what
very
she's saying.
minor.
Mhm.
That's very minor, and I don't feel very strongly about one way or the other, but I do feel strongly that I would recommend the question at least being posed of whether this is something that would need to be looked at by an attorney, as the library kind of like delves into this new realm of loaning out things that are not, I mean, I know you loan out things that are not books, but loaning out things that could potentially be costly or cause
Or cause some kind of,
different kind of damage than a book would typically cause, I guess you would say a cricket could cause a different type of damage. And I feel like this is definitely a policy, is my feeling, but I also see to your expertise in that, but I mean, a collection development policy, that's the standard terminology for your collection development policy, not procedure. And maybe it could be separated into the collection development and circuit policy and circulation procedures. But I think for the collection development part, that would be, in the libraries that I've worked in, that would be standard as a policy. And I imagine there's a reason for things being called policy and procedure in terms of the approval process at the city level that has something to do with legal issues. Although I don't know.
well, it would, all I can say is it would fall under our collection development policy.
Policy, yeah.
But I don't know that we had a legal team review that. It was approved by board and city council. But it did have city council approval. So that's why I'm wondering if it shouldn't go under our collection development policy. Because libraries change formats. I mean, we went from 8-tracks to cassettes to DVDs. If you crack a DVD, you've damaged the thing. But it does have sharp corners, so it could hurt somebody,
Mhm.
you know.
So you're suggesting adding this as like an addendum to your current collection development?
That's what
policy?
I'm wondering, if we shouldn't just do that. The difference is we haven't checked out. It's no different than Realia, a Globe,
Right.
which libraries check out too.
Makes sense.
But we do have expensive items in this collection. It's a special collection. I guess.
I think
But
that's really
I will-
exciting. I think it's really exciting. Really
I do
cool.
too.
don't
I
wanna
like
lose
the
that in
idea.
Going over it. I think it's so cool and I'm really psyched for the library that you're doing this.
I will check with Amber, my she's the assistant city manager, and Jerry, and see what they say. But I think it would fall just under the purview of our collection development policy. It's a different format that we've never checked out before.
So we leave it as is until you get those answers. Questions answered.
I'll get those done by next month.
Okay, let's go on to the next one, and it's discussion and input for policy on public use of new 3D printers, which is almost the same kind of discussion.
It's almost the same kind, yeah.
Do we have the 3D printers already?
We do. Michael has not, we haven't opened all of them. We just, some of the supplies trickled in. But we have we have a resin printer and a filament printer. So we can do, they're not the big one, great big ones, so you know, but they're small. We thought we'd try it out and see how that worked.
Would you consider doing a demonstration for the board?
We certainly would. In fact, I said something to Michael, said they're gonna wanna see how this works.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, so basically, they have a little there's video tutorials through the company that
Mhm.
we're selecting 4 of us who will know how to do it because, there is heat with this.
Mhm.
And so a staff, we've talked about setting up some certain hours, like on every Saturday from 12 to 3, maybe during an evening, it'll be open. And we'll have a staff member there that will be present at all
Mhm.
times while it's in use. And I looked at some of the other libraries who do have rules for youth to use. Some of them do put age limits, like nobody under age 10. And the other libraries have with a parent present, they have to. They have rules like no weapons. And I talked with several librarians at one of the library conferences because, yeah, they had a 12-year-old boy came in, he started printing the parts for a gun.
Of course.
So,
12-year-old boy.
that kind of thing needs to be addressed. Yeah. But there's nothing really illegal if they come in and they make a hilt for a knife, say, because they're just making the hilt. But so Michael is now, I've got him looking into and contacting other libraries to see how they handle some of these. Most people are just, they're gonna make the little action figures for Dungeons and Dragons games. And that's actually why we got the resin printer, so they could do that. Some of the action figures from Marvel Comics. There was expressed interest from some of the teens that they would love to do stuff like that, little action type figures.
Very cool.
And then there's a matter of the supplies. Now, we do have a programming budget. We can keep some of the general supplies. Some libraries don't charge their patrons, others have a small fee. And so Michael's looking into how much they charge, and that varies widely. When Paul and I first started talking about it, he didn't really seem to want to charge patrons because libraries are free, but the supplies aren't cheap. Filament and that resin is not a cheap thing. So they could come in here and spend 4 hours and use all of it. And then we've got to go buy another couple of $100 worth of resin. I don't know that it's that much, but it would be close to 100. So these are things and I didn't know if we thought the board might have some experience with 3D printers, and if there were other things do you think we should have an age limit on it?
Well, if there's heat involved,
If there is, I mean.
there's heat involved, and the age limit would be if the parent is there. You know what I'm saying? Some kind, besides the staff member. It's almost like,
This is fairly significant. I've worked with 3D printers, only the very large ones that are sold to places like Hughes for use on the new moon rocket. Okay, but in order to make the small parts we needed, we had tabletop 3D printers. So we were printing in series, And yeah, they're hot, they're big, they're dangerous. These people were all adults. They were trained, military trained and industrial trained. And to me, it's not the kind of thing you turn
a kid.
a child loose on. It would be like having a boring machine or a milling machine or something like that. It's industrial equipment. So definitely needs adult supervision and monitoring. It is really cool, and a capable person can learn to do it. You just press the button and it just works, and you stand there and watch it work. But if someone sticks their finger in there, they're going to get burned. So there is that.
And there will be someone who would do that if we weren't standing there
Of course. So,
supervising.
so
They gotta
that-
figure out
with the
why
three
you
D
told them
printer,
not to
but
do it.
that does speak to,
course.
it's no different than the sewing machine, really, if you look at it that way.
Elementary school libraries commonly have 3D printers now, and the children are allowed to create things to print on the 3D printer using the computer. They use the computer to
Right.
design it, but then there is an adult who is, pushing the button and supervising. There's not really a lot to do to actually print it. It's like a regular printer, right? You're like, print, and then you just stand back and watch it print, which is more amusing than a regular printer, of course. But I think it would be sad to limit children from making something as long as they have adult supervision.
Right.
So then the parent is really the one taking responsibility while the kid's just watching their little item be made.
Well, see, that's what I wrestle with. I don't like to prohibit children. I started out as a children's librarian, and some of them are very inventive, and some of them are our future astronauts. And so we bought this because we want them to explore and learn. And we have the staff who certainly is equipped to handle the machines themselves.
Okay. Well, Jessica's point is well made, that the learning takes place on the computer for the selection of the file
Right,
and manipulation of the file, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
And once you load the software into the 3D printer, it just runs and you do nothing,
And then you
so.
just watch and enjoy.
and now
Without
they,
touching.
they
Without
have,
touching,
Yeah.
it's the
Right.
gateway.
now they have the sites where you can just download the pattern and send it to the printer. And I think when talking to Michael, that's what he was thinking. They wouldn't really, we wouldn't have like classes where they'd learn to design. But we could, if we can find someone qualified to come in and do a short workshop on
Well,
designing.
yeah, Marvel action figures, right, they're libraries that by
But
libraries.
we also have copyright issues with that, so
Yeah.
that's my thing. I'm a big on copyright, because. So, yeah.
I make a lot of
Disney
money
figures, we
from
can't bring
copyrighted
copyright
material, and I'm pretty
because of
liberal about it.
copyright.
I
Sorry.
said, I make a lot of money from copyrighted material as a writer, and I'm pretty liberal about it. I've only put my foot down once or twice when someone took something without permission, and it was a university that the kid got failing grade. We're just downloading an article I wrote and passing it off to the museum. But other than, that's fine. I mean, there's a lot of back and forth. I don't want to get into it, but if I buy a book and read it to my friend, have we deprived the publisher of their income?
Yeah,
I don't care myself, and
It's
I understand
basically-
intellectual property,
it's
and I'm all in
basically
favor of
changing
it,
the
but
physical format.
broad strokes. This is a public library.
Well, we read books in story time, but it's reading straight from the book. We give credit to the author and the
Mhm.
illustrator. We don't try to recreate the book in a different format, though. So,
Okay.
but there have been issues with some libraries, like they do the dial-a-story where they read the book over the phone. And there are some that are arguing that that's changing the format of delivering the story.
Oh,
So
Um,
many libraries have stopped that.
4 publishers are suing, the, Wayback Machine for archiving. Yeah, it's difficult.
Someone's. Doesn't lose
So-
any money, I guess, I don't know.
so the 3D printers are here. There's gotta be a policy, here we go again, policy on the use of them or how,
Well,
and you have that already in place or you're,
Michael is
Working on it.
looking at some policies right now. I told him, I said, well, you need to put something together, so
Mhm.
he's. doing that, and he says, well, and then that's when we got to talking about what we need to make sure we have in it. And I don't know, I've only talked to the vendors at TLA sometime and a couple of other librarians. So we're doing some more, we're calling around or emailing different libraries so we can get some of their input and experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I think, well, you did say there was gonna be a staff
And
member
then-
and the usage.
Next month, I can have Michael come in and
Please.
we can
Yeah.
have him demonstrate it, or we
Yeah.
can go to the meeting room.
Staff.
These are enclosed too. They're not
Yes.
open, so you don't have all the
Okay.
resin odors.
Where are they? Where are they gonna be?
We bought a cart. They're in the meeting room closet.
Okay.
So we're creating, okay, so Paul left and I think, okay, what can I do that's gonna make an impact? I'm organizing, clearing things out. So we've created a little craft corner in the meeting room closet for
Great.
the 3D printers. And we'll probably do, like, keep our Ellison die cut machine
Mhm.
there.
Okay.
Okay.
So where are we?
So we're with continued business. So we've set that, I mean, we're all under. That's gonna happen for next meeting as far as the 3D printer. So continued business would be the library director's report. And.
I didn't get to print it, Michael.
Okay,
Oh, I just really fell down. I apologize.
I'm sure
Um,
you weren't busy at all, but that's okay.
I told her I was running this week to catch up with myself. Would you mind?
Please, yeah, that's good.
Thank you, Susan.
Um. Yeah, and the stats, whatever.
I don't have the stats yet. I do have, the July is almost finished. And we just finished the August, so I'm getting the raw materials together for that, so I will promise I will have a mix. It's been a learning experience this month. So bear with me.
Yeah,
There are a lot more details than one would think. And so I've enjoyed it though. It's been kind of invigorating. Here comes the calendar.
Oh, I have a calendar.
you know what?
I have one. I'm good.
Thank you,
You're good.
Susan.
Thank you.
So are we ready for the director's report then?
Please.
Yeah, go ahead.
We have a new person, a new library assistant with us. Her name is Jen Cardenas is how she pronounced it. And she began Monday. She's already familiar with the library's circulation system because I guess previous libraries she worked at used the Biblionics ILS, and so she's just kind of slid right in.
Good.
She's going to be taking over the adult cataloging and teen programming
Okay, and
probably.
what's her name, please?
Jen, Jen Cardenas or Cardenas, Cardenas.
Okay,
Jen.
Keep wanting to do that Spanish accent.
What?
But she's real nice. She has a master's in media arts and from UNT, and I forget where her bachelor's was from. So she's going to also be helping us staff the information desk out there. Next, on Monday, the 19th, we have our second one that'll be starting. She was just cleared through HR for all their background checks and testing.
mm-hmm,
And her name is Shannon Boxell, Boxell.
okay,
And she's going to be assisting us with some of the juvenile cataloging probably, but mostly a lot of the children's programming. Judy Thomas will be going out for surgery probably in mid-November, so she'll be taking over the baby and toddler programming. And she teaches yoga classes, so we might rep her into some yoga for not just the little yogis, but maybe adults and teens who are interested.
Great.
That would be, we've had a lot of patrons come in and request, so I think they'll add quite a bit, to the staffing here. And super nice. I really was impressed with them when we interviewed them. The Fiesta de las Flores has been moved to Saturday, October 15th.
Ooh,
I know the quilting. Part of it was due to funding the performers. By August 1st, we just couldn't, and booking, many of them are already booked,
mhm.
but we could get them for the 15th. So, we're looking into a mariachi band. We're asking Wallace, but we're also thinking of showcasing some acoustic guitarists out of Austin, like every Saturday for an hour or two. We'll have them in the lobby just playing an acoustic Spanish guitar.
You've already contacted Wallace?
Yes, Briseda did today.
Okay.
And so we're waiting to hear back whether, if they'll have enough students that they can,
Yeah.
play that day. If not, we talked to the Culturo Centro in San Marcos.
Yeah. Cultura Central.
And she gave us the names of several different dance groups that might be able to help us out. And also she gave us the name of another mariachi group. It's the same one that plays at,
Casa Garcia's,
is that the one up here at,
IHEB?
no,
Oh,
well, maybe it is. No, what is it? Casa Maria? Up
Casa
here,
Maria?
the
And
corner
Casa-
of
yeah,
35 and
yeah.
Center.
That,
Are they
Well.
the same group?
I think so.
And so they were very reasonable. And they're good. I've heard them.
Mhm.
So we'll hope. And then we're talking with, oh gosh. It's over there where they have all the food trucks there at Center Street. About providing refreshments, the fruit with some of the chili powder scattered on it.
Ooh,
And we're trying to bring in crafts and everything from, not just from Mexico, but all of Latin America. So we're billing it as a Latin American experience, not because there's people from all different countries, Spanish speaking countries. And so we wanted to kind of get that cultural vibe going there. So it looks like it's picking up now that we've expanded it a little bit.
so that's for the
Moved it.
15th?
The 15th,
Okay.
it'll be from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
But 15th of October.
15th of October, I'm sorry. Yeah. September. And so we're gathering. What's good is we're making some new connections this year, so we'll be booking for next year already.
I think that's a long weekend for students too, I believe.
It usually is, 'cause
Yeah.
they'll have Monday off or,
So that would be good, I think. People will want something
Oh,
to do.
that's right, that's
isn't that?
It's Columbus.
It's
Columbus.
International-
well, it's
Indigenous
Indigenous
Peoples
Peoples
Day.
Day.
Peoples Day
We don't call it-
holidays. I'm stuck
don't-
back in elementary.
Me
school.
too, I am
I'm
too,
sorry.
but it's like,
It will be Columbus Day for a lot of people, I know.
it's like in February, it's still Lincoln and George Washington's
Well,
birthday.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was me just having a major back in my
or
youth moment.
Vespucci Day.
Hmm?
Amerigo Vespucci Day.
Mhm.
Um, I'm on the interview committee for the directors, and those are beginning the week of September 20th. I think we have our first interview that morning. So it'll be an interesting endeavor.
Okay,
But I think it's open until filled, so we're continually getting in some new ones.
Until when?
And until
Open.
filled,
Oh, until
in
Phil?
case we don't find any in this group, we
Oh.
can continue to limit.
How many do you have so far?
I believe there were 13 that accounted for
13
this.
apps.
You interviewed all 15?
Many of them. Huh?
Answer is no.
No,
You're gonna
no.
answer, all I mean, interview all 13.
I think
Should we
only have,
discuss that a little bit?
I think we only have 4 or 5. But I'm told that, they will interview until we find someone who we all feel is a good fit for the community and the library. So yes, I have the June meeting notes here. I can print those out right after.
Yeah,
We can sign
we'll get
them
that
in.
signed and we'll get.
And that's about,
Friends of the Library, did they get any money or? Did they get any money from the little concession stand or anything?
we haven't done that.
Okay.
First, the vending machine has been empty.
Okay.
And so we've
fine.
just now refilled it.
Okay. So
Um,
nothing going to them now.
Part of August has been a steep learning
Right,
experience.
right.
As to fund accounts, where it's coming from, and see, I'm not getting everything. Because they don't know who so it's been sorting out and calling companies saying, okay, Paul has left, he's not here any longer.
oh, the
Send
vendors,
it to this email addressed to Kara Waits or something. So we've been,
Mhm.
it's all sorted out, and the director that comes in will have a nice organized list of everybody, when the thing is due, when it comes due annually or monthly. And Office Depot needs to revise their accounting.
They're counting.
The way they handle their invoices.
Oh.
I've had that experience too.
From a patron perspective, I have continued enjoying the library and I have noticed no disruption in the change of leadership.
I'm very glad to hear that. That's what we
Yes.
aim for.
Well, and
I
we
know you're
talked,
probably scrambling behind the scenes to
Oh,
like
yeah.
make it all work, but
I think the staff that's here has been really good. about
Yeah, well,
transitions.
we weren't able to order books for the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks. They had a ransomware attack at the vendor reuse. And so if we're scrambling, I know they are, because they've been sending email after email, keeping all of the customers updated. You can I know they're panicking at this point. They are slowly but surely getting it resolved and doing enhanced security with their systems. So,
Oh,
I'm hearing this is to be expected more and more. I've already had to call 2 banks that I have never heard of to close some checking accounts that were open to my name. You know, I open my email and all of a sudden there's a email from a bank saying, well, thank you for opening, and I'm going, I didn't.
Mhm.
So, but they're saying it's on the rise, and it's gonna get pretty bad.
I had one from my bank that said, your account has been blocked because of inappropriate use. Hit this link so that you can get that everywhere. No. So then I called the bank and they said, there's nothing wrong with your account. I said, okay. I mean, then I just deleted it, but
Amazon has sent me several. Your account has now been blocked. Click this link. Click here to unblock it, or I'm like,
yeah.
With my own bank, I usually I go to their website to call the numbers. I don't use the number they give on me.
Right, yeah.
But it's.
Yeah.
It's
So it
been
is-
creeping,
is,
I can
yeah.
tell.
A lot of the Amazon calls saying, did you authorize this? And it's a scam call. But some of them are pretty crafty.
Well, and when you
Yeah.
look at the email and you look at the address, and there's 10 Graces, Grace, I'm going, okay, that's not for me.
I like it. Hey, Kara. Did you know? And I'm going, do I know you? It's kind of a familiar opening
Yeah.
for
it's just a
someone you
lot of
don't
them
even
going on,
know.
Right.
But no, well, with my son being a programmer, he's pretty security savvy. I think he's got our house locked up tight. Certainly the computers, I know that because they design a lot of software that they don't want out. So, but I have learned to look at those URL addresses and the ending. That's your
Yeah.
giveaway.
Okay, so any other comments or anything else, or anything in the newsletter that we need to discuss or look at?
That might be a really good thing to do. At some point, either once or quarterly, have somebody come into the library on maybe a weekend when most people can attend and give a presentation on things to look for, the scams.
Oh, a scan.
Oh, you know, that is a good idea.
So like a lot of people don't know
Yeah.
that if they're not looking for a job, they could freeze the ID. They could also put a freeze on their Experian if they're not doing credit. There's a lot of things that people could do that maybe they don't know about. And things to look forward. Like, some people have fallen for the scams, people calling them the IRS and all this and everything
Yeah.
else. So,
Yeah, Social Security,
Social Security, oh my gosh,
Medicare.
Medicare.
Oh my God.
Medicare calls, it's like, are you joking?
My daughter was telling me that today.
I get
She said, "I'm
them
not-"
like, Kara, you are not signed up for Medicare and you're old enough. And I'm like, well, thanks. How do you know how old I am? I don't know what, that's what I'm
Yeah,
like.
no, because I've gotten, how old are you? Well, if you're calling me, you know I'm 65 or over.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. You know, I have a subscription to AARP. I'm like, what did I do? But my latest one was day before yesterday was from Capital Bank. Thank you for opening your 360 and checking account. And I'm going, your new debit card is on its way. And I thought, whoa, wait a minute. But I had one last March of 21, no, February of 2021, and then this last March from Wells Fargo too.
Whoa.
And then, someone tried to file unemployment claim under my social security name. So that was fun, trying to get a hold of social security.
So Morgan, did you have anybody in mind for the weekend presentation on computer security for the public? Okay,
We could probably talk with our own IT department and see if,
Your own, you mean the cities, or you mean the libraries?
cities,
The cities, okay.
well, it's city
Yeah.
flashlight.
Yeah.
okay. So that's gonna be on your agenda?
I wrote it down.
Okay, thank
so
you.
We'll see.
Oh,
I don't know if they will, but I know they may know somebody in the community that could speak. for them.
That's a great idea.
I think it's a great idea.
That's good. Anything else?
You know someone at work.
If I had to find somebody, I would know where to learn, but if the city IT doesn't offer that, let me know.
I will do that. I think that's a wonderful idea. Now that we are kind of at least more or less fully staffed. Sometimes too, we've got so many programs going, it's finding the time to do it. But Saturdays, you know, people who work can come. As a rule. We might even offer an evening, like 2 sessions, one on a Saturday, one in the evening for
Yeah.
those.
So,
Okay, thank you.
anything else? Our next meeting will be October 13th.
Okay, be there, be square.
And the meeting is adjourned at 7.
58,
I'm looking, I can't tell.
okay, thank you.
Thank you for taking that.
Yes.
And thank you to everybody.
I feel like if you wanted to look at.
I think you said it really, like just a little while
I
ago.
somehow
Yes,
didn't
I'll look
see it
at
on
it,
my
definitely. I just haven't had a
Mine
chance
says
to do it
that, but I
yet since the
realized
meeting.
No, I